Hey everyone, so you want to get smarter, right? Well, today we are going to tear down all the complicated ideas about intelligence and give you a simple, straightforward toolkit for actually learning faster and remembering more. Let's get into it. You know the story they tell you, this long, winding path that promises you'll be brilliant after decades of school. But as this quote kind of perfectly points out, that traditional route doesn't always work out. It's this incredibly long, incredibly expensive journey that can leave you with a massive vocabulary, but not a lot of job prospects.
So you end up with these two totally different paths that people try. On one side, you've got the 22-year academic marathon, and on the other, you have the internet's quick fix answer, right? Eat these blueberries, listen to Mozart while you study, or my personal favorite, 6 brain hacks I learned from a TikTok. Look, neither of these really works. One is way too long, and the other is just, well, it's basically fluff.
Which brings us to the big question, doesn't it? If the old way takes forever, and the new way is full of empty promises, what's the real strategy? What can you actually start doing, like today?
And believe it or not, the answer is so simple. It's the foundation for literally everything else we're going to talk about. You have to read. That's it. It is the #1 way to download new information, new skills, and new ways of thinking directly into your brain.
So, what should you read? Well, fiction is awesome. It'll make you read faster, build your vocabulary, and hey, sometimes it feels like you've got a whole new group of friends, which is great. But for the purpose of getting smart fast, nonfiction is where the real action is. It's the most direct path to learning useful things and actually having interesting stuff to talk about at parties.
Okay, but learning stuff is only half the battle, right? Because once you have all these interesting things to talk about, how do you actually share them without sounding like a total know-it-all? This is what we call the social hurdle.
Ah, man, we've all been there. Someone makes a comment and you just can't help yourself. You jump in with that classic opening line, well, actually, and just like that, you've killed the conversation. It's the fastest way to get people to tune you out, even if you're 100% correct.
And here's the key difference. The well-actually person is focused on one thing, being right. It's about proving the other person wrong. But the person who's actually respected, they focus on sharing a cool idea. They start by agreeing with the other person first, and then they just add their own little piece of insight.
So here's how you do it. It's a really simple 2-step move. First, just agree with them. Start with something like, yeah, that is crazy, right? That builds an instant connection. Then you gently add what you know. That's so interesting. I was just reading the other day and apparently, see, it's not a correction. It's just you sharing something cool you learned.
All right, so you're reading a ton, and you've learned how to share what you know without being annoying. But there's another huge problem, making sure all that new information actually sticks around. Because let's be real, if you forget it a week later, what was the point?
This is the absolute golden rule of memory. Your brain is basically a super efficient and kind of lazy machine. If you don't use a piece of information, your brain flags it as junk mail and deletes it to save space. You literally have to give your brain a reason to keep it.
And this leads us to a really powerful idea about learning. Turns out, to get good at something, you only need to learn about 20% of the core knowledge.
And that little bit of initial effort unlocks a massive 80% of the actual skill. It's an incredible return on your investment. A small amount of focused practice at the beginning gets you most of the way there, really fast.
So how do you do it? Simple. You apply what you read immediately. You don't learn to tie a tie by watching a video. You learn by actually fumbling with a tie. You read a chapter on tidying up? Get up and go tidy up your room. This tells your brain, hey, pay attention. This stuff is important. Don't delete it.
Okay, I know what you're thinking. That's great, but what if I can't practice it right now? Maybe you just read about how to jumpstart a car, but you don't have another car and some jumper cables just lying around. Are you just doomed to forget it? No, not at all. And this is where we get to a really cool, almost sci-fi technique, mental simulation. You can actually practice things entirely inside your own head, and often your brain can't tell the difference between that and the real thing.
Let's stick with that car example. On the left, you're just staring at a diagram, trying to memorize where the red and black cables go. That's passive. Good luck remembering that when you're stressed out on the side of the road. But on the right, you do a mental simulation. You close your eyes and you walk through it, popping the hood, finding the battery, connecting red to positive, black to negative. You're tricking your brain into creating a memory of an event that hasn't even happened.
And when you think about it, this is actually what a school test is supposed to be. It's just a fake, imaginary situation that makes information seem useful for a very short amount of time. It forces your brain to hang on to that info, but yeah, usually just until the test is over, then poof, it's gone.
And that is exactly why doing practice questions is so much better for studying than just rereading your notes. Every single question forces you to simulate that moment of needing the knowledge. You're actively pulling the information out of your brain, which makes the memory way, way stronger than just passively looking at it again.
Okay, so let's put all these pieces together. We know we need to read. We know we need to apply or simulate, but what's the most efficient package to get all of this done?
Check out this breakdown. YouTube videos, super engaging, fun to watch, but let's be honest, the amount of info per minute is pretty low, and there's zero practice. Popular nonfiction books are better, but then you have textbooks. I know, their fun factor is low, but look at the other columns. The information density is off the charts, and they have built-in practice. All those questions at the end of the chapter, that's built-in mental simulation. For pure, efficient learning, textbooks are the secret S-tier weapon.
So here it is, the whole toolkit, boiled down into 4 simple steps. 1. Pick something you want to learn. 2. Find a good book or a textbook about it and actually read it. 3. Apply it. Go do the thing in the real world. And 4. If you can't do it for real, simulate it. Walk through it in your mind, step by step. That's the whole loop.
The process is simple, it's direct, and it is incredibly powerful. The barriers to getting smarter are way lower than you've been led to believe. You have the guide, so the only real question left is, what's the first skill you're going to master?